Lightroom didn't just add another feature, they closed a gap we have all been working around without even realizing it. See, for years, we've relied on color mixers, calibration, and grading to shape color, but there's always been this missing piece of control that you can really feel in your edits, even if you can't quite put a name on it. And the truth is, we've all been fighting the same three color problems. Every global slider treats color as if it's this perfectly uniform thing, which is why adjusting greens or adjusting blues can instantly make an image feel uneven. See, landscapes, they're full of these tiny micro variations of color that quietly flatten our images because there has never been a clean way to fix them. And whenever we try adding saturation to bring a scene to life, some areas explode with color while others barely move, creating that blotchy, overcooked look that's so hard to avoid. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how this new update works and why it finally gives us the kind of control that Lightroom honestly has always been lacking. You'll see real examples from my landscape edits, how this tool separates subtle color differences, how it smooths out patchy saturation, and how it can bring depth back into areas that normally look flat and lifeless. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to use it to create more natural, cohesive color in your own photos. So these are the 4 images we're going to be working on. Let's start with this one right here. This is from my recent trip to Colorado, a scene that I absolutely love. Beautiful fall color, an incredibly perfectly still reflection down here. But as you can see, there's very nice color everywhere through here. But on the right side, there's a lot of this red. And honestly, I normally like red in conjunction with orange when it comes to fall color, but in this scenario, it's all kind of piled up in one section of the photograph, and it all happens to be right on the very edge, which is not really where I want to draw the viewer's attention. Ideally want to draw the viewer's attention into the center portion of this photograph. So what I can do is I can come up here to the develop module. This tool is hidden inside the color mixer, and I say it's hidden because when you open up the color mixer, this is what it normally looks like. You have your hue, saturation, and luminance right here. But if you click on this point color tool, this is where it's going to give you the ability to access this new variance tool or variance slider. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the eyedropper here, and I'm going to drag it over to an area that I want to adjust. So let's pick an orange tone, maybe this right here. And you'll see this pop up here. I can adjust the saturation of those colors right there. I can adjust the luminance if I want to. But you'll see this tool or this new slider down below that says variance. And what I can do is I can slide this to the left, and look what happens. That area of the right side of the image that was really, really red before is now more closely tied to the other oranges in the photograph. If I bring it down to -100, look at that. And now when I swing it back and forth to +100 to -100, what's happening here is when I bring this to -100, this is actually bringing all of the colors in the photograph that are similar to the color that I selected, that orange, yellowish orange color. It's bringing those tones closer together. So when I go to -100, you can see how all of those tones in the photograph are much more uniform. I can go the other way to +100, and that's literally separating those tones. So it gives you the ability to bring those colors closer together or separate them more. I'm not saying that you should always try and keep all of the colors uniform, but a lot of times when you have a lot of different, I just used a lot of times, many times when you have many different colors in a scene, it can make a photograph look very busy. So by being able to simplify that color palette can make your image much more relaxing to look at. It doesn't feel quite as busy. So once again, this is +100, which really separates all the colors. I have yellows, I have oranges, I have reds, I have greens up here, which makes this photograph look very busy. And this is the way it normally looks right here. So what I would do is probably just bring this variance tool over to the left a little bit, just to make those reds not stand out quite as much. Nothing like this, but to a point right there. Let's go to another example right here. This is a great use case. You know, how many times are you photographing with a wide angle lens and you have a portion of the sky in your scene and your sky has different variations of blue? So as you can see right here, the area up here is much darker than the area down here. What you can do is I can grab the eyedropper, let's drop it on a color that we want to manipulate with this, which is this blue. And as I bring this to the left, you'll notice that the color in the sky starts to become more uniform. I can bring it all the way to the right, and now I have even more variation. But if I want to keep it a little bit more cohesive, I can bring it in this direction. But if you look at what's happening in the water here, it's actually impacting that as well. And this is something that I think is really cool. Let me delete this. you can actually use this new variance tool inside of masks, which is absolutely huge. That's a game changer. So I'm gonna come up here to masks. Let's create a sky mask. You'll see that you have access to the point color tool. I'm gonna drop the eyedropper on that same color of blue, bring this variance over. Let's bring it all the way over just so it's easier to see. And now when I toggle this on and off, you can see it is only impacting the sky. It is no longer impacting the water. Probably wouldn't bring it over that much, but maybe to a point right here, I think looks good. And once again, all the way to the right is more separation. All the way to the left is less separation. Look at that. Very, very nice. Much more uniform up here now. Let's go to this image right here. This is another image from Colorado. I really, really like this photograph, but this is kind of a good example of many different colors in a scene. Once again, I've got reds all through here. I've got yellows, I've got greens, I've got blues back here. I've got white in the snow. There's a lot of colors happening here. So if I want to make it a little bit more uniform, grab the eyedropper again. Let's pick a color that we want to manipulate, that yellow. And as we slide this to the left, look at that. You can see what's happening now. If I go all the way to the right, look at that separation. So it's really up to you which way you want to do, whichever way you want to use this tool. But the beautiful thing is if you want to separate those colors, if you want to make all those colors stand out more, you can do that. If you want to reduce the amount of colors in a scene and you want to make them a little bit more uniform, you can do that as well. You can blend both of those together. This gives you so much control. It's amazing. And as I swing this back and forth again, look at this. So if I wanted to reduce the amount of colors in this scene, I could bring it like this. If I want to make those colors separate a little bit more, just to make the image a little bit more interesting, it could make it a little bit more busy. It's up to you. But I think that looks pretty good, or I could do something more like this. Got one more example here that I want to show you, and this is a very, very good, or I should say, this is this solves a big problem in fall photography, because how many times have you gone out to shoot fall color? And maybe you're a little bit before peak color and your tree, like this example right here in this image, your tree's got lots of beautiful yellow on it, but it also has a little bit of green up here. Previously, we would try and shift the hues of the yellow or shift the hues of the green more towards yellow, but this variance tool is a much better solution for that. So if I come up here and I will select the little eyedropper and let's pick a color yellow that I want to manipulate. And you generally want to pick, I didn't mention this before, like how do you know which color to pick? You want to pick the color you want to manipulate, but you don't want to pick the most vibrant version of that color. You usually want something a little bit more subdued, not quite as punchy. So I'm not looking for the brightest yellows in this scene. I'm just looking for a faint yellow. So something to about maybe right here, I think looks good. And you can see that it's selected right there. And now if you watch the area up here, this green, watch what happens when I slide this to the left. That area of green almost completely goes away. Now I can go all the way to the right. That creates more separation in those colors. This is left. Look at this. So almost all of that green up there is completely gone. And as I swing this back and forth, look at that. You really see it in the upper right-hand corner. So if I want to remove the majority of the green from this beautiful tree overarching this waterfall, I'd bring this variance tool down to something like that. And now pretty much all of the color in the leaves on this tree are all basically the same color, which is that yellow, which is super, super cool to do. I've had so much fun playing with this tool with a lot of the fall photographs that I captured in Colorado or captured in the Smoky Mountains this year. And this is just gives you so much control. And I think it's one of the biggest improvements that Lightroom has made over the last few years is one, to its masking capability, and two, to its ability to get very, very targeted with the colors you want to enhance or manipulate. So this new variance tool is super fun to play with. It's a very simple tool to use. And as we went through 4 different examples, as you can see, those were basically the 4 use cases that I see the most value in for this tool. And I hope that this video was helpful. Maybe you can play with this on some of your photos and you could get as excited as I am about it. So if you have any questions about anything covered in this week's video, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will do my best to get back in touch with you as soon as humanly possible. And if you did enjoy this week's video, if you could, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And as always, I really do appreciate you carving out a little bit of time to spend it with me here today, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Bye.